The floor of the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. Big East Media Day is rolling right along, and we are so excited to bring with you the women's side of things. Kim Adams right alongside myself, Megan Caffrey, and we have so much to get into today. But first, looking back on last year, 4 teams to the NCAA tournament, a really strong showing for the league.
Yeah, I mean, there is so much energy in the building right now. I think the league finally really got the respect it deserved on a national scale last season with those 4 teams going to the tournament, the historic Elite 8 run for Creighton, of course, UConn in the national championship. So we just saw the polls come out. We've got 2 teams in the polls, 2 teams right outside. So that momentum is traveling right along into this season, Meg.
And we'll see some great returners from last season as well. But we are going to welcome in the 3rd member of our team, Lisa Roman. Hey, Lisa.
Megan, Kim, it is so great to be here inside Madison Square Garden where this place is buzzing. All of the teams are here. A lot of them got in late last night. They had some time to explore Times Square, even get a little bit of shopping in, and they're going to show off what they bought yesterday today. We've got a 360 cam, interviews all day. We'll get into it.
Oh, and I think we are going to have to get into our Big East Commissioner of Women's Basketball and Operations, Sneaker Cam as well, Pam Planke. Let's hear from her right now.
It's time to shine, baby, time to show them all you are.
Good afternoon. My name is Pam Planke with the Big East Conference, and it's my pleasure to welcome you all back to Madison Square Garden. We're looking forward to hosting a productive and enjoyable afternoon, and if there's anything our staff can do to help you, please let us know. Before we get the day started, I'd like to welcome Big East Commissioner Val Ackerman to the podium for some opening remarks. Val?
Great, thank you, Pam, and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to everybody who was here with us this morning, and welcome to those of you who are joining us here at the Garden for our Women's Basketball Media Day segment. As many of you know, we're now embarking on our 41st season of Big East Women's Basketball following the launch of competition by the league back in 1982. And so we're really excited to be here in person at the world's most famous arena to usher in what I know is going to be another amazing year of competition for our programs. I once again want to extend a thanks to the Garden, led by our colleague Joel Fisher, Executive Vice President, and his team for the hospitality today. We couldn't be happier with the way the building looks and how it reminds us all of the games that are around the corner. And I also want to thank Jeep which has served for the past 8 years as the presenting sponsor of the Big East tournament and all 22 of our conference championships. And they're going to be returning this year in the second year of a 3-year renewal of that arrangement. I want to recognize the journalists who are here today, particularly those of you who cover women's basketball regularly, and want to say hello to others who are following today's program via the Big East Digital Network. You'll see our set over here is going to be covering this event throughout the afternoon. We're very pleased that Jackie Campbell, who has been at it for a long time and done a great job in college athletics, has signed on as a member of our conference office staff as our new Senior Associate Commissioner for Women's Basketball and Strategic Initiatives. Jackie has hit the ground running in her new role, and I'm very confident that she will be a great resource to all of our schools and to me and our conference office staff as we look to build on last year's exciting finish. I also want to commend Pam, our Associate Commissioner for Women's Basketball Communications and Operations, for her long and hard work in support of our programs, and also Deb Williamson, I saw earlier, who continues to very capably serve as our Big East Women's Basketball Supervisor of Officials. Deb, I see you up there. Thanks for being here. We're very excited to welcome our new coach this year, Austin Parkinson, the new head women's coach at Butler, who is joining the Bulldogs following a very, very successful winningest coach of all time run at IUPUI. So Austin, thanks for being here today. Great to have you. I also want to give a shout out to our athletics directors. Many are here. Our SWAs, a great group, and of course, all of our coaches for everything that all of you do to support women's sports and to provide truly first-class competition for our athletes. I want to acknowledge two of our SWAs who have key positions at the moment within the NCAA governance structure. They are St. John's Kathy Meehan, who serves on the Women's Basketball Oversight Committee, and Villanova's Lynn Ty, who now represents us, and she's in her second year, as the Big East, representing the Big East on the Women's Basketball Committee, which has the important job of selecting at-large teams and providing oversight around the NCAA Women's Tournament. And I really want to thank you both because it's heavy lifting and you're doing double duty with these important roles, and we're very grateful to you for that. We want to congratulate two of our head coaches for some notable accomplishments last year. First, Joe Tartamella at St. John's became the program's all-time winningest coach out in Queens, and he's now at the 182 win mark. So Joe, hats off to you. And then secondly, want to give our deepest congratulations to Coach Doug Bruno, now entering his 37th year at DePaul. I think, Doug, I have that right, who was inducted in June as a member of the 2022 class of the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. Extraordinary honor, very well deserved. I'll also note we got the recent news that the women's basketball court at Wintrust Arena, which is the home court of the Demon Deacons, was recently rededicated as the Doug Bruno Court for all women's games in the building. So Doug, hats off to you, and thanks for all you've done over many years to build the women's game. With the 50th anniversary of Title IX this past June, we were very heartened to see so much attention directed to the progress women's basketball and women's sports have made over the past 5 decades, and what we all need to do to keep those arrows moving upward. A number of our schools are conducting Title IX celebrations this fall, and having attended a couple of them already, I can report that it is so exciting to see these high-energy female student-athlete alums coming back in droves, literally, to our campuses, and to be reminded of the incredibly rich history of women's sports in the Big East, especially in basketball, our marquee sport. We're pleased to see movement on some of the gender equity recommendations made by the Kaplan Law Firm in their report last summer, including recent decisions by the NCAA to add an NCAA-sponsored WNIT to the national postseason. We're awaiting details on how that's going to work. And also a girls basketball academy to accompany the boys basketball academy That'll start next year as part of the NCAA summer calendar. We hope the report's commercial recommendations around television and sponsorship for the tournament, which are designed to bring additional attention and resources to the women's game, we hope those recommendations will get moved to the front burner in the coming year. So back to the here and now. Here's some key accomplishments from last season that we felt bear repeating. UConn, of course, led by Hall of Fame coach Gino Auriemma, kept up its winning ways by winning its second season back in the Big East with a bang, with its 21st regular season crown and 20th Big East tournament title, defeating Villanova in the championship game at Mohegan Sun before moving on to the NCAA postseason and their 14th consecutive Final Four appearance and 12th national title game. Few have done more than the Huskies. Creighton, DePaul, and Villanova, happy to report, as we know, also advanced to the NCAA postseason. Most teams we've had in the Big Dance since 2014. We won 3 first-round games, with Creighton making an historic run to the Elite Eight under the leadership of Coach Flannery. Marquette and Seton Hall accepted NIT bids, with a Hall, very exciting fashion, advancing to the title game. We hope very much that we will be able to build collectively on those exceptional efforts this year and beyond. Denise Dillon, now in her 3rd year at the helm at Villanova, was last season's Big East Coach of the Year after leading the Cats to runner-up performances in both the regular season and the conference tournament. So hats off to Coach Dillon. Hats off as well to Maddie Siegrist, who was our 21-22 most outstanding player. As many of you know, Maddie broke the conference's 20-year-old single-season scoring record, and went on this summer to represent our country as a member of USA Basketball's 3-on-3 under-23 Nations League team that competed in Romania and the Dominican Republic. Congrats as well to DePaul's Anissa Morrow, Big East Freshman of the Year, who broke 13 conference records along the way last year and was later named WBCA and USBWA National Freshman of the Year. What a performance. 4 other 21-22 award winners are back with us this year. Defensive Player of the Year, Nika Mule from UConn, 6th-woman awardee Morgan Maley, and Most Improved Player Lauren Jansen from Creighton, and our Sportsmanship Award winner Chloe Murata from Marquette. We know many more impressive accomplishments await these young women and others from our 11 programs. We also staged our 2nd conference tournament at Mohegan Sun last March, which was a tremendous success. This year will mark, as I said, the 40th Big East Women's Tournament, and we know Mohegan Sun will continue to provide an outstanding environment and exactly the kind of setting we want for this marquee event for our participants and our fans. On that score, we announced yesterday a 3-year extension of the arrangement that will keep the tournament at Mohegan Sun through 2026. And I want to thank Jen Rosati and her team in Uncasville for all of their efforts on our behalf. So now looking to the upcoming year, we're entering the 10th year of our long-term national TV agreement with Fox Sports. This year, Fox will televise 15 regular season women's games. CBS Sports Network will air another 4, and SNY will broadcast an additional 18 games. FS1 and FS2 will also cover the tournament, giving us more than 40 linear exposures for the season. We're also very excited that Fox Broadcast Network will air 4 games this year, up from 2 last year, including a rematch on February 5th of last year's national championship game between UConn and South Carolina. We expect to win this one this time. Over the summer, we also extended our relationship with Flow Sports, which, as you know, is currently the home of the Big East Digital Network. Flow is set to stream more than 600 conference events this year, including nearly 130 women's basketball games that are not otherwise airing on linear television. I want to give special thanks to Tim Eichhorst and Rush Media for your long-standing production support and all you do for the Big East and for our schools. Additional content is going to be made available on the Flow platform, which will include Fast Break, our weekly women's feature show led by our co-host John Fanta and Megan Caffrey. That'll be up again this year. We have, as you all know, many compelling stories to tell and hope these outlets will help bring our athletes and coaches the attention they deserve. Switching gears just for a minute, we want to note how we remain deeply committed to doing our part to combat social and racial injustice. We have many activities planned in furtherance of this goal. And as I noted this morning, among these are continuing with our Be the Change advocacy program, which is our attempt to bring together stakeholders within our league to fight against prejudice and discrimination and to promote tolerance and the quest to build more welcoming environments on our campuses. Student athletes across all of our 22 sports, including our men's and women's basketball teams, will be wearing, again, Be the Change uniform patches during the 22-23 season. And then finally, before I let Pam come back up here to tell you what we're doing, I did want to report on the 7th edition of Transition Game, which is our annual personal development program, personal and professional development program for our upper-class women's basketball student athletes. We conducted that this past September in New York. We were glad to have the opportunity to offer insights to, I think our head count was about 36 young women, about what life might or will be like when their playing days are over. Our featured speakers included UConn's Morgan Tuck, St. John's Dashina Stevens, DePaul's Sarah Kustok, Providence's Brianna Fries, and Villanova's Carolyn Coyer. All of them distinguished Big East basketball alums who are now succeeding in other areas. It was uniformly acknowledged by all of us that Title IX made all of our journeys possible, which for me is all the more reason to keep this law and the commitment to equity unwavering as we look ahead to the next 50 years. So with that, I'm going to stop there and turn things back over to Pam. Great, again, having everybody here today. We look forward to seeing everybody during the season, and thanks again for joining us today. Need a picture?
If we get all head coaches up for a photo op with Val before we disperse.
Well, I told you, we have to get a sneaker cam on Pam Flinke at some point today to see that. But we will be hearing from all 11 teams throughout today. We will hear from head coaches and players alike. And Kim, one thing that I really think that stood out with what Val was saying was we celebrated the 50th anniversary of Title IX this past summer. And now you look ahead to the Big East, and a record 4 games will be on Fox Broadcast Network. A really big deal for the conference.
Yeah, a huge deal to get that exposure that the women deserve, and I think we have the exact right person leading us here at the Big East. Val Ackerman, the original commissioner of the WNBA, is now here at the Big East leading the Title IX efforts. I had the opportunity to attend a dinner the other night where Billie Jean King was there, and that is going to be a focus of women's sports for the next year. And these women are seeing more and more opportunities, and TV is a big part of that.
Yeah, and it'll be really fun. 15 regular season games will be on Fox channels, and then the entire the tournament semifinals on. And so it's so much fun. I mean, you can't just we are at the mecca of basketball right now, and we'll wrap up the women's season in Connecticut at Mohegan Sun. But I mean, it's just so fun. We can't wait for the season to start.
And Val just announced here that the Mohegan Sun partnership was just expanded another 3 years. So the tournament will be there through at least 2026. And we had the opportunity to be there with fans for the first time this March. From round 1 on to the championship, those fans came out big time, and I think it'll even grow this season. And that's the atmosphere that these amazing women should be playing in front of.
And an atmosphere it really was. But let's take a look at what we are going to see today on our show. We're going to hear from plenty of head coaches and players alike. We will have a first-year head coach in Austin Parkinson with Butler coming up, Kim, but tons of guests coming to the set.
It is a busy day. Get some snacks, get some hydration in, because you don't want to miss any of these coaches. Lisa is going to be handling most of the player interviews. Really excited to hear from some of them about what they've been working on and what we can expect for their teams.
And really, when you do look at the coaches within the Big East, it really is impressive. I mean, we heard it from Val also that Doug Bruno inducted into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, Gino Auriemma Hall of Famer. And so you're seeing the pedigree, the level of coaching in this league as well.
Yeah, and and we're seeing some new coaches in the last couple of years. You mentioned Austin Parkinson. I think they're putting him right on the hot seat. I think he's our first coach up here in just a little bit. But so many coaches in their third year, like Denise Dillon, already brought her team up to second place in the conference last year. So really tremendous coaches, and glad we're going to have the opportunity to chat with all of them.
Well, and speaking of Denise Dillon, the player of the year comes out of Villanova this season in Maddie Siegrist. But let's look first at the Big East all-team. 3 Huskies on that team, Kim. What stands out to you with this roster?
Yeah, well, I think first you have 3 really talented sophomores in this group. Caroline Ducharme, Azzi Fudd, and of course Anise Amaro. But then other than that, it's a really heavy upperclassman. I'm looking at some graduate students. Sydney Cooks, Janae Crooms, Lauren Park Lane, senior point guard. So some really talented young players, but it's a veteran heavy group this year as well.
But talented young players. One of them comes out of UConn in the Big East preseason freshman of the year, Ayanna Patterson, and she comes in with a lot of notoriety, Kim.
Yeah, Ayanna Patterson, Fort Wayne, Indiana, out of Homestead High School, the number 4 ranked player by ESPN in her class. She's a 6'2" wing, and I have heard, Megan, that she can throw down with ease. She didn't get to do the dunk contest against the men at UConn the other night because of a little injury, but I'm ready to see her throw down a bit.
Yeah, and how about that? She's the 3rd straight UConn rookie to be named preseason freshman. As we now turn to the player of the year in Maddie Siegrist. I mean, she was just incredible last season.
Yeah, she's now a senior. Last year set the Big East single season scoring record at about 28 per game. She was the 2nd overall scorer in the NCAA, 9 30-plus point games. And to think she is coming back, she had that Team USA experience over the summer. I can't wait to see what she's going to bring in her final year.
Yeah, and we get to have a first-year head coach here joining us to the set, Austin Parkinson out of Butler. We are so excited. Coach, how have things been going for you out in Butler?
It's been great. The kids are working hard. They're fired up about what we're doing, and the culture piece has been great. They really want to learn, and we're excited to get going.
And Coach, they're putting you on the hot seat right away, our first coach of the day.
Yeah.
I know you didn't have to make a huge move coming from maybe right down the road at IUPUI, but what drew you to Butler and to coach in the Big East Conference?
Yeah. No, I joke with people. I went from a 25-minute drive to 10, so it was significantly better. But, to be at Butler, I've always thought of Butler as a high IQ place, hard workers, and obviously the history of Hinkle Fieldhouse and what they've been able to do there as an institution. So I thought my values aligned well with theirs, and the opportunity to coach in the Big East and on this stage is something I'd always hoped to do, and I'm grateful I get an opportunity to do it.
What are some of those core values of yours that did align?
Well, for us, I think being disciplined, kids that care about their academics, high character kids. We've always really focused on having good chemistry. Kids that love basketball. In the state of Indiana, you drive around, there's basketball hoops in almost every backyard. We want kids that love the game of basketball because they're more likely to spend time on it and have a better chance to reach their potential. And that was kind of our success at IUPUI, and hope to do that at Butler.
And I know you completely turned around the program at IUPUI. I believe it was a 3-win team when you took over, and then last year getting them to their first NCAA tournament. Hoping to do the same here at Butler. What kind of things go into leading that growth year after year?
Well, I think you got to make sure you're clear on what your culture is and what your expectations are, and then you got to be patient. You can't rush things. There's no secret formula to winning. I mean, it's hard work and being prepared. I do feel fortunate. I've got a couple players that were with me at IUPUI that have now joined me at Butler, and that's made a little bit of the transition easier because there's a couple players that can help show our system and kind of what we do, and there's something to point to for the other players. So that's helped things a little bit. I didn't have that the first time around when I took over that program.
I know that a slogan that your team is going with is defense lives here. Take us into where did that come from?
Yeah, so I actually saw it at a Purdue basketball game, men's game. They used to keep a chart of the hustle plays, and I just said, that's going to be our theme. And so we've kept it every year. There's a point in the year where we allow them to start using it as our kind of motto when we break huddle. for a while defense vacationed here, so we're trying to get it to live here.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a mindset, and we just feel like if we can defend the way that we're capable of, we can be in games.
And Coach, we'll see a bunch of new faces on the floor this year at Hinkle too. You mentioned a couple transfers, some talented freshmen. Who are a couple that you think we should really have our eye on that you think are going to make an impact for you right away?
Yeah, Rachel McLemore is a special player, and she averaged 19 a game against the 3 Power 5 top 25 teams that we played. Anna Mortag, I think, will surprise a lot of people in the Big East. And then we've got a freshman, Jordan Muhlmans. Is maybe the smartest freshman I've ever coached. She led the state of Wisconsin in three-point shooting, and she's been outstanding in our workouts so far in scrimmages. So I think she'll have an impact right away.
What makes her so smart?
Well, to be able to pick up multiple positions, we're going to be a little bit undersized at times. And so typically for a freshman, you're just learning one spot and trying to master that. She's been great on the wing, but she's also been able to slide to the 4, and she's not somebody you have to tell twice, which is big when you're trying to get everybody on the same page.
Yeah.
And Coach, really interesting reading up on some of your background. It seems like basketball has definitely been in your DNA, even just Indiana basketball. Can you tell us a little bit more about your family dynamic with basketball and how you grew up around the game?
So my grandfather was an All-American for Adolph Rupp at Kentucky. My dad was the all-time assist leader at Purdue. Ironically, this is my first time in Madison Square Garden. My dad won the NIT here in 72,
Wow.
my grandpa in 46. Wow. And my dad loves to tell the story when they won in 46, Adolph Rupp gave him each $1 to go out on the town because he was so cheap. But this is a neat thing for me because I've always heard about being at the Garden, and obviously grew up in a basketball family.
Did you take a little selfie? Did you send them a selfie today at the Garden on the floor here?
At some point we will. I'm going to make sure that gets done before we leave.
What are your anticipations like with your first game at Hinkle Fieldhouse? Have you kind of put into your head of what that's going to be like for you?
Yeah, it's going to be a special moment for me and my family. I mean, Hinkle Fieldhouse to me is one of the best venues in the entire country. I tell people it's like walking into a cathedral. They've done such a great job of maintaining the history of it, but obviously modernize. And so to be able to play, coach, that first game, and knowing this is where I get to coach every game, that's going to be an awesome feeling.
Well, Coach, we are so excited for you. We cannot wait. Lisa, we're going to send it right over to you.
Thanks, Megan. I am here with sophomore Trinity White. Trinity, I got to start with the kicks here because you are looking great. I hear that it might be your kryptonite, buying shoes. You buy a lot of shoes. What is your favorite pair?
Probably my Vapor Maxes. I have about 3 pairs of those. I have a blue pair, gray, multicolor, and my mom's told me I need to stop, but I just can't.
Well, I like it. You get to show them off today. Megan and Kim at the desk just talking to your new head coach, Austin Parkinson. What has been so refreshing about his entrance into Butler?
Just he actually he cares about us off and on the court, and he puts yesterday during practice he said your performance on the court doesn't define who you are, and during practice it hit me kind of hard. I was like, dang, because I'm really hard on myself on the court, and he's a breath of fresh air, honestly. He's very family oriented, and he brings his kids to practice sometimes, and it's just cool seeing them grow up and stuff.
That is very cool. I saw on social media that at the start of the school year, he took you and the team to Top Golf, and rumor has it that Coach ended up winning. Trinity, did you give him competition at the golf course?
I'll be honest, I'm not the best at Top Golf, but yeah, Coach, sometimes he says, I'm going to the range, and I'm just don't you have anything else to do? He he'll come to practice, and when we were doing Top Golf, it was going far, and I was just yeah, cannot be me. And my dad, he does golf too, so he was he was trying to teach me. I was maybe I'll be able to compete with him one day.
One day. For now, sticking with basketball, but when you golf, you can learn a lot. What did you learn about your teammates at Top Golf during that session?
Lots of things. Most of them were strictly basketball because it was a lot of they were missing the ball. One of my teammates, I thought she was doing practice swings. She said, no, I'm trying to hit it. And I was oh. But I feel a lot closer with them this year, and I feel our connection on and off the court is a lot stronger.
That is fantastic. We'll stick to basketball for the Butler women's team. Thanks so much, Trinity. Meg?
Thanks so much, Lisa. Well, coming up next, we are so excited to have to the set one of the winningest coaches in women's basketball, entering his 37th season at DePaul, head coach Doug Bruno. That's up next.
You can see the possibility of a bigger future. If you have dreams of making things happen, if you have hope for creating a better world, bring it to Butler University. Because this is where learning becomes experiencing and doing becomes accomplishing. Where intellect is recognized, talent is refined, aspirations are realized, and every bit of your potential is unleashed.
If you have a curious mind and a compassionate heart,
with the support of a community behind you and beside you,
you can be a change maker.
This is the place where you can find your light
and shine it for all the world to see. Whatever you do best will help you do it justice. At Creighton University.
Welcome back into Madison Square Garden, where we are looking at the active winningest coaches in women's basketball. And we see Doug Bruno right there, recently inducted into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, head coach Doug Bruno, as we are so excited to welcome him into the set. And coach, first and foremost, congratulations. What a moment. How special was that for you this summer?
Well, thank you very much, Megan. It's always about the players. Yeah. You're in the Hall of Fame because I've had great assistant coaches, great bosses, Dwayne Peavy, Lenti Ponsetto, my assistant coaches, Jill Pizzati, Lisa, Rick Bush, and Candace Blanks, but great players through the years. That's why you're in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. And Coach, I'm glad you took some time to celebrate yourself. We're excited to see Doug Bruno court this season at Wintrust Arena. Shifting a little bit to this season, Coach, you obviously returned last year's top freshman in the country, Aneesah Morrow. You also graduated a very experienced backcourt. So keeping both of those things in mind, what were some of the focuses of your off season?
I think you're hitting on the word experience, Kim, and we have 8 experienced players. Darian Rogers and Kiara Collier is a 6th-year player with a lot of experience. Darian Rogers has played a lot of ball as a sophomore. We have 2 transfers, Anaya Peoples from Notre Dame and Jade Edwards from American. So those are both veteran players. Kendall Holmes returns. I mean, Jory Allen started for us 2 years ago. So it's really about the veteran players.
And Aneesah Morrow is a veteran at this point of how much she played last year, of how well she played last year, breaking basically every single stat that she could. What stood out to you about her in her freshman season that you didn't know about her coming in?
Well, I knew she was competitive. Yeah. I mean, she just has this ultra inner competitiveness, this inner drive to be excellent, and that's what makes her. I mean, her game is really simple. She runs, she rebounds, she finishes around the bucket, but she's just a really ultra level competitor, and that's all you can really say about her, and that's what separates her.
And you've talked about her work ethic to us, even in the classroom, equally as so. How would you describe kind of a bird's eye view of how you saw her working in the off season to put together an even better season coming up?
Well, we want Aneesah to expand her game, okay? And so she's working on guard skills, which are every big player wants to have guard skills and exhibit their guard skills. But I'm trying to explain to her that bad players can stand on the three-point line and chuck. So she's got to still continue to play to her strengths and try to work on her versatility, but at the same time do what she does best, and that's play in and around the bucket.
A lot of veterans on your roster, but with some of the newcomers or some of the newer faces, who do you expect to take a step forward this season?
Well, again, Kiara Collier is in her 6th year, and she's been to a couple schools, so I think she has a chance to have a really, really breakout season. Darian Rogers has been playing ever since she got here as a freshman. So I expect Darian to really have a really good season as well. Then again, back to the transfers. I mean, Anea Peoples played at Notre Dame. She was a McDonald's All-American coming out of high school. She's been in a big-time program, so she's going to have to step up and play well. Kendall Holmes is lying out there, too, as a player that hasn't played a lot yet because she was injured as a freshman. Getting Jory Allen back, we're excited about Jory's health. So it's really I think it's going to be those 8 players. If those 8 players are all healthy and ready, I think we have a chance to be pretty competitive again.
And Coach, going back to your transfers, Anea Peoples, Jade Edwards, first of all, they're both Chicago kids, so that's got to be pretty cool for them to be coming back. But what can you tell us a little bit more about their games that the Big East fans should be ready to start watching those two?
Well, first of all, in the portal, we're excited that we knew them. We recruited them. We worked. It's not like we just plucked a couple players out of the portal. We've known them since they were very, very young. And, Anea has just got a really exceptional motor. I mean, she's one of those motorized basketball players that just really goes hard all the time, a physical player, and really strong at getting to the rim. Jade Edwards is just a really versatile guard. She had 4 years of experience at American University and a really quality mid-major, and has played with our players all summer, throughout the summer. So Jade is just a really efficient guard. So I think they both bring a lot of experience and talent.
Yeah. Coach, we look forward to seeing you this season, but we are first going to throw it back over to our third teammate, Lisa, who's joined with one of the DePaul Blue Demons.
I'm here with Anissa Morrow. Anissa, you are former National Freshman of the Year. How much did that motivate you this offseason to continue training?
It's motivated me a lot. I've always talked about trying to be consistent and staying focused, so that's been my main goal on the offseason.
We just heard from head coach Doug Brown that the new Wintrust Arena court is being named after him. So not only are you practicing on Doug Bruno court, now you get to play on it as well. What was your teammates and your reaction when you heard that?
I was super excited. We just now are, for 3 years, have been able to play at Wintrust, and just to see that a court is named after our coach after such a short time is amazing.
Now, you told me you got to sign the court. Tell me about that.
Yes, after they announced it, they told us and my teammates that we could sign the court. And me, I know I ran and got my Sharpie ready to sign.
That is fantastic. Now, you're coming off a year in which you won 13 awards. You broke 13 records. And I know that coach has a rule that when you win an individual award, you have to do something for your teammates. So what were some of the things that you came up with to do for your team last year?
I got cookies, edible arrangement, fuzzy socks. A lot of them said that I should have played my song or rapped my song for them because I rapped when I was younger, but I might try that this year. But I did a lot of things.
I am ready and really excited to hear you rap a song this year. So I want to see that. Put it out on social media. Will you do that for us?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Right, thank you.
Meg?
Long day for you guys?
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Well, let's take a look at the Creighton Blue Jays schedule this season. And the Creighton Blue Jays are coming off of just an incredible historic run last year, Kim. And the first trip to the Elite Eight returned 6 of their 7 top starters. And right into conference play, as we look at this schedule, they don't have an easy route.
I mean, nobody has an easy route with how well the conference is doing. We don't even see the non-conference there. I know they're going out to Stanford. They've got a tough South Dakota State team pretty early in the season. So Coach Flannery, who is with us now, is ready to challenge his team right back at it.
Yeah, Coach, first, before we even think about going ahead, reflecting on last season, could you put into words what that run was like, taking your team to the first Elite Eight in program history?
Yeah, it was magical. I felt like there were things that fell right, but we also had a belief, and maybe we were just naive enough to not put too much pressure on ourselves. I felt like we played freely, which is important, and sometimes when you're the underdog, that's a little bit easier to do, and just kind of came together for us. I feel like our depth was really good. I think when you get in a tournament setting and you have the depth where one or two of your players don't feel too much pressure or tournament pressure. I think that's really helpful, and I think that was a big part of it, because if you look back at the run, we had different people produce in different games, and that's kind of what you need. So it was a rush. It was a lot of fun, and it comes at you quickly. That's the other part that's fun. So I told him to keep celebrating it at times, because I think you can always gain something if you look back and understand how good we were then. So don't spend all your time looking back, but occasionally if you need to do that, that's a good thing.
Yeah, kind of right along those lines, as Megan said, you bring back most of that core this season. So how do you hope to take that confidence and the experience, and how have you built it into your preseason workouts, and how do you want to see them keep riding that out while also being focused on a new season ahead?
Right, we do have a lot back, and we've got 3 freshmen, and you're trying to go as fast as you can without losing the freshmen. I think, you want them to kind of catch up, and not boring them. And that's not but you got to challenge them, because what we did last year we hadn't done in the history of the program. So you want them feeling good about themselves, but not too good about themselves. So I think you got to balance pushing them, but they're competitive by nature. I mean, if we do a drill and it ends in a tie, and I refuse to break the tie by letting them play longer, they're mad, which is a good thing, and they love being in the gym. So I think it's a group that kind of pushes each other. It's not that I'm always the one who has to do that. So I look forward to it. I mean, obviously you got to kind of stay healthy, and even though we return a lot, chemistry is different year to year. So we're going to have to, people are going to have to accept roles, but also keep pushing to get better, so that if they're called on to increase their role, or if their role becomes a little less, they've got to be unselfish about it. So those things all matter.
Coach, the preseason AP poll came out earlier today, and for the first time, your team was ranked 21 in that preseason poll. How do you balance now these expectations that are coming in with your team this season?
Yeah, well, I've thought a lot about it, because I've been asked a lot about it. How do you handle expectations that are higher than they've ever been? And I think most of it comes down to the approach of your players, and I feel like they have the right approach. They're still hungry. We typically only ask them to be on campus for 4 to 5 weeks in the summer. Most of them voluntarily stayed longer. They did some things on their own. So I think it's a group that doesn't always have to be told. A lot of times they just want to do a little bit more, and I think that's good. And I think it doesn't have to be. You don't have to feel any extra pressure if your day-to-day approach is what I feel like the approach of this group is. And again, going back to what I said earlier about the depth, I think that I don't think we'll have to feel like there's a night where Emma's got to carry us, or Morgan or Lauren has to carry us, because we have a lot of people who can produce on game nights. So it's about just staying level and getting better in practice every day.
Yeah. And Coach, those of us who have been following your team for a couple years now, we've been very accustomed to seeing Tatum Brumbaugh at the point. So unfortunately, she is one of the few that has graduated. So who can we expect to see kind of take the reins of point for you this season?
Well, Molly Mogensen was our backup point guard last year, and she's a third-year player now, and she's very capable. I mean, Molly played over half the game last year as a sophomore, and her freshman year got to play a lot because of the COVID issues and injuries that we had, and Tatum was out a lot her freshman year. So Molly's more than capable. The question will be who will back Molly up to some degree. We've got 2 freshmen guards who I think can fill that role, but we'll need them to keep getting better and keep their head above water, because that's a tough position to play for a freshman. But we're a little bit unorthodox too. We'll let Emma bring the ball up the floor and Carly Batchelor bring the ball up the floor, so we don't always have to be, maybe as structured and conventional as most teams. And because the idea is, sometimes we're harder to guard when Emma brings the ball up the floor than when a point guard, and they can adjust to the way they guard other teams. I just think we're a little bit unconventional, a little bit different, and that can help us a lot of times.
I love that, a little unconventional, a little different. Coach, we are so excited for you guys to get the season underway. Let's toss it back to Lisa, who's joined with 2 Blue Jays.
I've got Morgan and Emma with me right now, coming off of a historic Elite Eight run with Creighton. Now that you've had this summer to really sit with it and reflect on it, Emma, I'm going to start with you. What did you learn the most from Creighton's run last year?
I just learned that our team has a lot more resilience than even I thought I did, and I think other people thought we did. We did have that Elite Eight run, and then it was just magical from then on. Everyone was coming up to us, like in public, like, congrats, how did it feel? And you were kind of like giving repetitive answers, like it was great, it was fun. And just having those little reminders now and kind of like putting it in the back of the car and just like focusing on this season. But those little reminders are going to help us with the season, I think.
Morgan, for you, named Big East 6th Woman of the Year last year. How are you looking to continue to evolve your role on the court?
Yeah, I just want to grow. I want to do more this year, and I've been working really hard to develop my game. But honestly, whatever the team needs from me to get wins, that's what's going to happen.
Well, I know your teammate right here. She likes to make TikToks. Have you been in any plans for the TikToks this season?
Not yet. I'm not much of a dancer, but if Emma needs me, I'm there.
That is a true teammate right there. Now, Emma, Morgan, we are in the midst of spooky season right now, so I'm going to ask you both this question. Emma, what is the scariest part about Morgan's game?
Ooh, I feel like people. I feel like people will like sag off when she's like NBA line, but then like she just shoots it in your face, and you're like, what? Like the 3-point line is 3 feet in front of her, but she'll just shoot it anyway, and then she doesn't even like make a face after it. She'll just make it and like run back. I'm like, what? So that the range for sure.
The range and the confidence, Morgan, for you. What is the scariest part of Emma's game?
The length and the post. I feel like when I have to guard her, I do a pretty good job of staying in front, but she just like reaches around and like gets a bucket anyway. That's tough.
It is tough to guard for sure. Now we've got the 360 cam here today for Media Day. Both of you said you didn't do it yet, but we've been talking about our poses and our plans. What are you going to pose when you get up there, Morgan?
I wish I would have worn like a muscle shirt because then I would have flexed, because that's kind of my go-to, but I'll have to come up with something else.
I was thinking we could like do it together and just like, because I don't like solo, like just, like that. I don't like solo, so just that.
Well, stay tuned. Maybe we'll see Morgan and Emma up there together on the 360 cam. Thanks so much, ladies.
Thanks so much, Lisa. We are now going to bring into the set the Xavier Musketeers head coach, Melanie Moore. But first, we're taking a peek at their schedule. They open up Big East play up against Creighton. But one thing is for certain, it never gets old as we have now Melanie Moore on the set with us. And it's new for some of your players here at Media Day today, but I mean, what is the excitement around your team this season?
I think everybody's excited, and our big word is just growth, continuing to move the program forward. And I think that's important when you are in a rebuild situation. You want to build a program, not a team. And from year to year, what does that look like, right? So COVID kind of stunted our growth a little bit, but those girls in that locker room and our staff continue to just keep pushing forward, and we got the right people in place to move the program forward.
And Coach, interesting mix for you this year. I know you really started to find a core group last year that was really playing well together, Shayla Beeler being one of them, who's going to join us shortly. And then you add in a bunch of new pieces. I have 4 freshmen and 2 transfers. So ideally, how are you hoping to see that all kind of blend together this season?
Yeah, I think just the chemistry on the court, but also off the court. So you have that nucleus that knows kind of how the day-to-day of Xavier women's basketball is, and they've done an excellent job of leading the transfers and the freshmen, and I like what I've seen so far. So I think it's like new energy, new life, kids that love the game, they want to compete. So we're looking forward to getting started here in November.
When you do look at growth for you, from when you came in day one to now where you're heading into, where has the biggest part of growth been for your team?
Yeah, probably the culture, number one, and that's just getting good grades. It's not only on the court, but it's in the classroom, in the community, and all of those things. And I think the girls have done an excellent job. Our team GPA finally was a 3.3, so like that's a celebration in itself, because I think there's a correlation in the classroom and on the court. So our culture is where it needs to be. Like I said, we got great kids, hard workers, just high character kids that do the right thing.
Yeah, love to hear that. And then going on the court specifically, whether it's the last few weeks, the last few months, is there a moment or something that finally clicked and it just made you really excited, kind of on the court wise, X's and O's or skill wise, that you're like, wow, this is really starting to come together here?
Yeah, I think we had a practice last week where we had, it was Shay was leading a group, and Shay Beeler, Courtney Pranger, who's also here with me today, Taylor Smith, and a couple freshmen, and we were going against our practice guys, and they just made this incredible play. The ball never touched the floor, and we got a layup in transition, and that's when you're like, all right, they're starting to get it, and just fighting for the rebounds against our more athletic practice players. So it's been fun just to see our growth individually every single day.
We'll hear from Shayla in just a bit. She's with Lisa. But when you look at her specifically, how has she really helped lead the team?
She's a winner. She won a state championship in Indiana, and we all know Indiana basketball is a big deal. And so she wins, and she just leads with. She understands the game. She's a great teammate. She's there to pick even our young freshmen, pick them up and talk to them what she sees and why. She's high-fiving, but she also, like I said, she just wins. She has this aura about her that you want to be around her and you want to just play hard.
And Coach, any other returning players for you? You have a pretty young core that started to play more and more minutes last season. Anyone who you're kind of keying in on as somebody who you think is going to make a big jump for you this season?
Yeah, Naya Harris. I think she really came on strong towards the end of the year. Her athleticism, she was one of the best freshmen, in our league, and now she's a sophomore. And I feel like a lot of times players you see at that jump from freshman year to sophomore year, they're like, now I get it.
Yeah.
And I thought she's come on strong from the summer that she's had in the preseason. So looking forward to seeing her growth on the court.
Well, Coach, we look forward to seeing you, and we look forward to now hearing from Shayla Beeler. She's joined with Lisa right now.
Shayla, for you, when you entered this preseason, what was the one point in your game that you were most focused on improving?
I'm more focused on improving my three-point range. Most people like to scout that I don't shoot the three-pointer. I like to get to the rack, so just working on that and improving my range.
So take me through an afternoon of training with you in the gym when you're working on your three-point shots. Is it how many shots you're getting up? Are they timed? Are they under pressure? Take me through a little bit of your routine.
Yeah, mostly under pressure, and it's also just the amount of shots I'm trying to get up, trying to stay within that 1,000 range. So just getting up as many reps as I can, trying to form that muscle memory.
It is all about the muscle memory. Now, for you, this is your second year here at Xavier and under head coach Melanie Moore. Now that you've had a little bit of consistency with her from last year into this year, what have you noticed about the team overall and how they're evolving as a group?
We're more hungry this year, that's for sure. Coach is stressing that. She's keeping us ready, and we're just going hard every day, and everybody's ready for the season.
Everybody is ready for the season. We love to hear it. Now, we're here at Media Day. We've got a sneaker cam. We've got the 360. You are looking incredibly, incredibly sharp. You seem like a fashionista. Did you pick this out? How'd you come to this outfit?
Yeah, I picked this out. I wanted to go with something different, not seeing too many people in the brown, and it's fall, so kind of had to come with the brown, and then Doc Martens on the bottom. I love my Docs, so had to come with these.
I love them. Now, will you jump in the 360 cam and show off the fit that you've got on?
Yes, ma'am. You already know it.
Now, when you show up to games on game day, do you pick out your outfit? Are you rolling up in sweats? What can we expect to see you in this year?
You can expect me to see me in some sweats. I like to come comfortable for the games. If you see me outside of the basketball, though, you will see me in some drip.
You heard that. You can catch her in some drip around campus. Shay, thank you so much. Have a great year this year.
Thank you so much.
Up next, we are so excited to hear from the unanimous preseason favorite, the UConn Huskies. But also, hey, Lisa, you have been talking about this 360 camera all day long, and I think we might be just getting you to get onto the 360 camera up next. We can't wait for that. Lisa, get ready. Huskies up next.
We do what others don't.
Dream what others won't. Driven to leap forward, determined to always give back.
Here we work where giants have played, where the connection of work and ethic is made.
A diverse community possessed with a passion
to know and grow and go and show the world we are prepared to change it. Here we ask what must be done, for in doing we learn and earn success.
And you can get there from here.
DePaul University. Here we do.
Welcome back into Big East Women's Media Day, where we are just rolling right along, and the day continues because now we've got Lisa up on the 360 cam. Lisa, you have been talking about this all day long. You also have now a little outfit of yourself, a shoe game to show off. Let's see you on the 360 cam, girl.
I am so excited to be up here. We got people waving in the camera. So what happens is you stand up here and it circles you twice. First time, apparently they're not recording. The second time, you've got to strike a pose. Some of the players told me a hair flip. You show off the fit. This is how it goes. You get an email. I hope to see a lot of the players that did this today posting their 360 video on their social media so all the fans get to check them out because it's a lot of fun up here.
Coach. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody said you.
Thank you so much, Lisa.
Well, yeah, I got a haircut.
Oh, we got a haircut, a
makes
little
me feel lighter.
FOMO,
Makes me
photo
feel lighter.
bomb. Also,
yeah, it makes
Coach,
me
how's
feel
it
lighter.
going?
That's all good. It's all good. How are you guys doing?
We are doing good.
It's been
We're
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything exciting for you this summer aside from coaching and recruiting? Did you take some time for yourself?
Yeah, you know, I spent a lot of time at the Jersey Shore. You know, it's like my favorite place to be. You can't get away from certain things. You know, every July you got to go out and you got to do the whole recruiting thing, and June is summer school, so you got to do all that. Yeah. You know, with your players. So any chance you have where you have to do nothing, it's great to get away. And you know, I had an opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
And you know, that and watch the Phillies do what they're doing, and you know, as soon as we're not involved, you know, it's let's go get ready for the Eagles to go to the Super Bowl, you know that. But you got to understand Philadelphia people, you know. We win our first game and I'll get 5 texts going Super Bowl. We're 1-0. But that's the, you know, so that keeps you having fun. Both of those teams, you know.
Yeah, maybe you heard it here first. Eagles to the Super Bowl.
Eagles to the Super Bowl. That's it. That's it. Well, unless they lose the next game, and then everybody's going to turn on them and say we're not as good as everybody said we were. You know, it's just Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's
it goes
really
with the territory.
It's the place to be right now.
Yeah.
It sure is.
Coach, when you do look at your team, the big storyline is Paige was supposed to come back. She gets injured again, out for this season. Now when you look at your roster, you do have experience coming back, young experience, but experience regardless coming back.
Yeah, you know, when I look back at the team that played in the national championship game, you know, Olivia is a 4-year starter. She's gone. And Kristen, a 4-year starter. She's gone. And Avina, who played a, you know, big role for us, is gone. And now Paige is gone. So you have 4 of the top 5 players that played in that game not playing. So the people coming back, Caroline played a little bit, you know, played a lot sometimes. You know, AZ played a little bit and played a lot sometimes. So there's 2 players in particular say, well, they have a lot of experience. Well, yeah, for 1 year of playing college basketball, right? So, hey, Dorka has a lot of experience, 1 year playing for UConn, right? So there's, Aaliyah Edwards, yeah, she has a lot of experience. She played 2 years. So there isn't like, hey, you have 3 or 4 seniors and juniors that played a lot of basketball and they'll help offset, whatever you don't have. But they're really talented, the guys we have. Yeah. So I'd rather have some talented guys than guys with experience.
Yeah.
Ideally, you like to have both, right? But if you had to pick one or the other, I'd take talented guys.
And Coach, just back to Paige a little bit, just how is she doing mentally, physically, and what sort of conversations have you had with her? Unfortunately, she dealt with this a lot of last season as well, but how can she continue becoming a better player while she's not able to be out there with you guys?
Yeah. Paige always puts on a happy face, right? I don't think you've ever seen Paige on the court, off the court, where there wasn't this bubbly kid, who likes to have fun, and I think that's why people really, really gravitate toward her, right? But inside, it's killing her, right? So she comes to practice every day, and I'm just so glad to be here. I get a chance to be around the team, but she's dying inside because she can't be playing. So she does her rehab. She does, all the work that she's supposed to do. She'll say she said this yesterday. My workouts, my bike workouts are harder than practice. Okay, because she thinks we don't practice hard anymore. Because she's not there. So obviously, so she's engaged. So will she become a better basketball player? Physically, no. But she'll become a better basketball player mentally because she'll see more from the sidelines. Not that she needs to, or I would wish on that, but she'll study more. She'll watch more film. She'll sit in there with us as we're watching film to get ready, and she'll see the game from a different perspective, which will help her an awful lot. That's the best we can do, As far as conversations are, Paige, can you help me get a deal? Like, I'm trying to.
You're gonna get a StockX deal?
Yeah, I'm trying to get a,
Get
deal.
Some Crocs?
Can you get me some?
Have you gotten Crocs?
Yeah, can you get me some free gear? It's that conversation.
Yeah, a little swag for you too.
Yeah. It's just the world has changed, right? Yeah. Coach used to cheat in recruiting by giving players stuff. Now you're asking players to give you stuff.
Coach, when you look at AZ Fun, experience from last year, and when we had her on the court, a bunch glimpses of real greatness.
Yeah.
What have some of the conversations been like with her, that with the leadership she's going to have to take on this role, and just the role that she's going to have to take into this year?
You're right about AZ has a certain quality about her that she carries herself like, I expect to be good because I am good. I put the time in, and I've got some God-given gifts, and I've worked really hard to take advantage of those things. So she knows exactly who she is. She knows exactly how good she is. Do you put even more pressure on her to be even better? Because there were times last year where she carried our team, right? So now my conversations with her have been, it'd be great if you were playing with Paige, right? Because you two guys, you've known each other forever, but there's no Paige this year. Yeah. And you're healthy. Last year there was Paige and you weren't healthy, and then there was you and Paige both healthy, but that was for like this much time. Yeah. So now there's you and no Paige. So you got to be a better version of you, and you got to be somewhat of a version of her. So, and her response was, "That's a lot." I said, "Yeah," and she said, "But it's nothing I can't handle." So she's willing to take on that role. She's just not that vocal leader, and which is fine. I'd rather her be the kind of leader that we come out of a timeout down 2 and she makes it 3. They're the kind of leaders I like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Put her on the spot, and she delivers, for sure.
Right. That's right.
Well, we'll hear from her in just a bit. We're going to have her on the set. But first, let's throw it over to Lisa, who's with another UConn Husky.
I'm here with Aaliyah Edwards. Now, Aaliyah, you told me that UConn got into New York yesterday and you spent some time around the city. What did you guys do yesterday here?
So we took some flicks at Times Square, and then we went to Radio City as well. And I think the pictures are going to look very nice, so stay tuned.
Now, were you in your uniforms? Were you dressed in street clothes? Did you get to pick out your outfits? What was the attire for the photo shoot?
The attire was our uniforms, but we were looking swaggy in them, so.
I really like to hear that. Now, big congratulations to you because you had a very, very busy summer with Team Canada, U23 national team, playing basketball, winning MVP of the tournament. What did you learn from that experience?
I learned a lot about being a leader. That's kind of the first time I played with my age group in a couple years. So me being the oldest on that team and taking all the younger athletes under my wing, I learned a lot, and I'm hoping to translate that onto the UConn team this season. So I'm excited.
Not only with your younger teammates on that team, but also with Team Canada, you guys went to a Coach Mom showcase where you got to be with young athletes. What message did you try to translate to those really young basketball players?
I try to tell them that, right now you may not see where you want to be in life and how far you can go with your game, but it'll pay off if you keep grinding, putting in the work, coming in, putting extra shots in. And I'm excited to see how they did because they all were so nice, all so talented as well. And they tried to play me one-on-one, but, they couldn't beat me.
So you schooled the little kids? You didn't give them a break?
No. There's no breaks, no timeouts. I gotta tell them what's up.
Hey, that's what we want to hear from our competitor. Now, I want to ask about your teammate, Anaya Patterson. She is named Big East Preseason Player of the Year. Early days of training so far. What have you seen from her and what she can bring to this team?
I see a lot of potential with Yana. She's a young Husky, but, she's strong and aggressive and a powerhouse. So I'm excited to see what she's going to bring to the table this season. And already you can see that the spark's going for her and things are clicking for her.
Sparks for her, combination play with you. How are you feeding off of those sparks so far?
Oh, I'm definitely feeding off them. It's my junior year. I'm ready. I'm pumped. New year, new season. I think that my focus right now is just being a confident player and with everything I do, being versatile and showing a little skill on the perimeter as well.
We love to see the skill on the perimeter. Stay tuned this year because she's going to be lighting it up on the court. Thank you so much. Meg?
Thank you so much, Lisa. We are now joined to the set with Azzi Fudd, the top returner for UConn this year. But Azzi, you were here last year with us as a freshman. Now you come in a little bit more of a seasoned vet, sophomore year. What was this offseason like for you, and how is it a little bit different than last year just coming into college basketball?
For me this offseason, I really focused on just getting healthy. That was my priority, getting my body right, all that. And kind of with that, a lot has come. I mean, I'm a lot more confident. My mental side is a lot better. And then physically, I feel so much better. I feel like a way different person already than I was last year.
Oh, we love to hear that. Azzi, you've had now a full season of playing under Coach Auriemma. And, following the game, you hear he can be really tough. Some people can't handle playing for him. Some have an amazing experience. How would you say you became a better basketball player playing under Coach Auriemma in your first year?
I learned so much last year. Even just like the summertime, I remember my first time. I don't remember what he was talking about, what he said to me, but I'm looking at him explaining this, and I'm like, this man is a genius. I can't believe I'm here at UConn. This is my coach, and he's a genius explaining this stuff to me. So I learned so much last year. Just basketball in general, but also like with our plays. So going in this year, I'm a lot more confident. Going in my second year, I know the system, I understand the coaches and how they work. So I'm excited.
And this season, you're going to take on a little bit more of a leadership role. Coach was talking to us a little bit about some of the conversations he's had with you with the responsibilities that you're about to have. How are you digesting all of the responsibilities that you have coming up this upcoming season for you?
I'm trying not to look at it like, not like that, but kind of just thinking of it as I'm doing what the team needs me to do. Yeah. So I want to be that player that the team and the coaches can rely on, and I know in order to do that, I got to do what they need me to do, whether it's scoring, whether it's communicating, defensive energy, whatever it is. I want to be able to bring that every day.
And Azzi, for the players who are returning from last year's team, making the run to the NCAA championship, coming up just short, what sort of feelings or confidence does that run give you, or even learning tools from coming up just short that you want to take into this season?
I mean, losing in that game really sucked, but I think we kind of used that fire and that feeling that we had after that game, this preseason, summer, all of that, and I think all of us returning, we all remember that feeling and how terrible it was. So we're definitely using that throughout the season to kind of fuel us. But I think the pieces that we've added, our new players, our freshmen, our transfer, are all great additions, and I can't wait to really get to play with them.
And we can't wait either, AZ. Thank you so much. Good luck this season.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, AZ. We're going to take a look now at some of the big games that are coming up here this season. As AZ, thank you so much, girl. Kim, UConn at Creighton, Seton Hall at Creighton. What games really stand out to you here? I mean, we've got in February a rematch of the Big East title game, UConn and Villanova. What are you looking forward to with some of these big time games?
I mean, anytime we see UConn, that's exciting. I'm really looking forward to Villanova at Creighton. Yeah. We saw even in the coaches' polls, those number 2 and 3 teams were voted on very closely. I think that's a really interesting coaching matchup, an interesting style of play matchup. So I'm looking forward to that one, Villanova at Creighton.
And we are looking forward to now getting to hear from Marquette head coach Megan Duffy. Coach,
hi, ladies.
Welcome to
the
set.
You snuck up on us.
Good to see you.
Get my notes out.
Where I gotta go, and I was excited to talk to you all.
On the move. Great to see you.
We're so excited for what you have coming up this season. But first, with last year, making it to the WNIT, when you look on how last season went, what are you hoping to build off of last season and learn from last season?
You know, it's interesting. We won 23 games, and, you know, we're in the NIT, and it's like the world's ending at Marquette sometimes because your expectations and your standards are so high. But, you know, I love a new season and a fresh start, and, you know, there's a lot of unknowns, I think, with a lot of teams, right? New players, you're you know, putting different kids in different roles. But again, there's an excitement in Milwaukee. There's an excitement about our program, and these first few weeks have been so fun just to be out on the court with them. You get more time with them. You're building your chemistry. You're building your consistency. I think probably no head coach is extremely thrilled right now because you're putting all the pieces together. You're making it hard for them. But again, the ultimate goal is to be ready to go in March, right? So you're continuously building your new players and your new squad.
And Coach, you graduated your top 2 scorers from last season. We missed them already, LVK and Carissa McLaughlin. But it doesn't seem that way. Like, it seems like you still have such an experienced core group with you. Chloe, Jordan, Liza was really coming on strong. What areas are you hoping to see that experience grow this season?
Absolutely, yeah. Lauren Van Clunen is finally done. She wasn't allowed to come back anymore.
Year 9?
You know, year 6, and she's over in Spain playing, which is awesome, starting her pro career. And we miss her a lot, but she's local, so she comes in and out of town a little bit visiting us. But, you know, I think, you know, you lose Chris McLaughlin, who had experience, and I think when we build this new team, it's about maybe the scoring and the major statistics, rebounding, assists, you know, your efficiency on both sides of the floor is going to be spread out a little bit more. Liza Carlin was somebody who made huge strides from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, one of the most improved players I thought in the league, and, you know, everybody will have to do a little bit more. I'm so excited for Jordan King. You know, she's in some ways taken that secondary role of just being that point guard, being that playmaker, and I think now she's going to be able to showcase herself a little bit more. And then, you know, we have that balance of some vets and some youth and a new player in Nia Clark. So right now it's exciting just to kind of take those pieces, mesh them together. We might look a little different than last year, which is, you know, completely okay, and see what comes out by the end of the year.
Yeah, and we have to ask who's now going to be grandma on the team.
I guess I'm the grandma now, right? You know, starting year 4 at Marquette, you know, so I'll take that. But yeah, you know, it's okay if you lose a grandma if you got some, you know, fiery young kids that are ready to go for you.
Yeah, but Coach, since you mentioned her, Nia Clark, a transfer from Xavier, but you actually coached her when she was a freshman at Miami of Ohio. So now you get her back as an upperclassman. What really excites you about having her for round 2, basically?
It's such a wild story with college basketball right now. I recruited her to Miami, my first head coaching job before I came to Marquette. You know, our paths went different directions, obviously, and then, you know, for her to come back around and join me at Marquette, it's been awesome. She's been, you know, extremely coachable. She's bought into our culture. When you bring somebody in from the outside, you have to fit to us, right? You have to fit to what we're doing, and she obviously obviously, as people know, brings the athleticism. She's competitive, and just having that upperclassman that, you know, maybe it's different being at Marquette, but again, she's got experience in a unique way that will help our team.
And Coach, if nothing else, your teams at Marquette are known for just dominance on the glass.
Yeah.
I wanted to know, what is your favorite rebounding drill?
Ooh, we try and do something unique every day. We love hitting the boards on both sides. You know, we have one called war rebounding, where imagine, you know, the game of football where there's no fouls, you beat the crap out of each other. So we're doing that. Some people call it like an animal ball.
Sounds dangerous.
But again, it can't hit the floor. We got elbows flying, and there's some good celebratory moments in it as well.
Well, but Coach, we also know that you like to get your hands dirty in practice. So I'm going to put it out there for Jaden, your SID, to get some video coverage of you hopefully maybe taking part in some of these rebound drills.
Yeah, like until I'm a grandma, I love to be out there sweating with the girls, and you know, I've dive on the floor for a loose ball occasionally, but yeah, I love to work them out and get in there as I'm coaching them, and hopefully that won't change for a long time.
Coach, we're looking forward to watching you guys play this season. We're going to throw it over to Lisa, who's now joined with one of the Golden Eagles herself.
I'm here with Chloe Marotta. Chloe, welcome to Big East Media Day, but that means that the school year has started. We're done with the summer. What'd you get up to, though, this summer? Let's reminisce. Did you do anything fun this summer?
Yeah, I had a great summer. I think it was fun. In May is kind of the time to travel, you know, right after you get out of the season. So I visited one of my close friends in San Diego, did a little surfing, enjoyed the sun, and it was fun.
So how was the surfing? Did you get up? Did you fall in? How'd you do? Grade yourself.
I wouldn't grade myself very high with that. Surfing's probably not my thing. It was awesome to try it, but again, I'm terrified of sharks, and so that was a little scary for me.
So we'll stick with basketball for you, and you announced that you're coming back to Marquette this year for your 5th year. What influenced that decision?
I just love Marquette. I really do, and I love Coach Duffy, and to have 4 years with Coach Duffy was something that I was really excited about, just to have that and to get better. And, you know, I want to win, and I want to get far, and the team that we have I'm super excited for, and so there wasn't really too much of a decision coming back. I was excited to do it.
You mentioned Coach Duffy, and having 4 years with her was really important for you. How has the team evolved under her?
I mean, just tremendously. I think every single day we get better, and you know, we watch film, we go downstairs, and we get better. And that's, you know, something that I've learned from Coach Duffy is she really focuses on those little things, the fundamental, you know, being a great basketball player, and we see that day in and day out. And her energy and competitiveness in practice has, you know, it's just a great environment.
So you've been busy on the court, you've been surfing a little bit, but you also have been being the difference, as Marquette likes to say, in the community in Milwaukee. What got you involved in the community that way, and what have you done with the community in Milwaukee?
Yeah, we do a lot of community service as a team. I'm also a part of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, and we do a lot of service through that as well. And so we've done a little bit of Boys and Girls Club, Brothers and Sisters, just a ton of community programs that help the youth, honestly, and really impacting them. And it's been a great thing, and especially with NIL as well. We've got a chance to work with the collective and work with different groups in the community as well. And it's been a great time, and I think as much as we can impact them, it makes us feel better.
What are some of the activities you do with the youth in the community? Are you showing them some basketball skills out there?
Yeah, some basketball skills for sure. We played a little 3-on-3 with the kids, some 1-on-1. We've done a free clinic for some of the kids in Milwaukee and kind of took them through drills, whatever they like. We did a defensive drill one time. I had them get really locked down defense, so that was a good time. So yeah, and we also give them school supplies as well. So we've done like folders and notebooks and pencils and pens and, you know, and asking questions as well. They can ask us whatever question, whatever silly question. And we love to answer.
I am so sure that the kids love you. Now, Chloe, I want to ask you this because Marquette has a Marotta legacy. Your dad, Mark, played there. Your brother, Cam, played there. So the legacy is already there. But what Chloe legacy do you want to leave at Marquette?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I want to have this sense of leadership, you know, that someone was able to impact as much as I want to, you know, as with my voice and with how I play, but especially for those younger kids as well. And I think the underclassmen, and that's kind of the idea of coming back for my 5th year, you know, just to have that impact for the team. And I think, you know, when somebody says my name, I love the fact that they know my dad and they know my brother. But now on the women's side, just representing female athletes, it's awesome as well.
Well, we are excited to watch you keep representing Marquette women's basketball this summer, or this year, Chloe. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Meg?
Thanks so much, Lisa. We're so excited to now have joined to this set Providence head coach Jim Crowley. Coach, Welcome into the set. When you look at your team this season, you have some key returners, younger returners, but also some really big impact transfers. At a glimpse, what does your team look like it's going to put out there for this season?
Yeah, well, obviously it's early. The hope is that we find some consistency with the youth having another year under their belt. And Janae was new too, so to have that many people play that many minutes together and in a lot of different scenarios that they had to go through. So I think those experiences paid off. And then we added experience, as you said, with the transfers. Logan Cook, who was a 4-year player at Iowa, and Bryn Farrell, who was a multiple-year player at Florida, are both players who have helped us on the floor already, but have really helped us with who they are, their experience, their leadership, just the way they are as teammates. So we're excited for what that'll bring, but we know we have to perform better and certainly more consistent than we did last year.
And Coach, going back to some of those returners, was really impressed down the stretch, your core of freshmen that are now going to be sophomores. Kylie Shepard, one of them who's here today. How are you hoping to see that freshman, now sophomore class take a jump for you this season?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that happens is it's not so new. You know, every experience is new to them, whether it's going to class or a one-point game or going to a visiting gym. It's all new. So there's just a confidence comes when you know what to expect. So that has allowed them to continue to improve and to continue to just kind of stay focused in on the task of being the best basketball player they can, being the best teammate they can. And we've seen that. And just those experienced together have brought them closer and made them, share in what they want to accomplish even more.
When you look at some of your transfers, a Logan Cook, for example, who comes in with a lot of experience, who comes in with expectations to be a leader, what are some of those conversations like that you have with her of coming in, leadership expectations, but coming into a new team?
Yeah, when we started that, when we first spoke to her, that was the first thing I said to her. We like, hey, you fit how we play, you fit what we do as a need basketball-wise, but that doesn't matter. We need you. We need your personality. We need your leadership. We need your maturity. And I want to be real up front that's going to be an expectation. And she was all in on that. And she has been great at it. It's a natural thing for her. She comes from an incredible family. She's one of the best human beings you ever want to meet. So, this summer she was taking our team all over the place of New England, and they bonded because of that. And so it was something we talked about right away, but it's also really natural for her. And I thought she'd be good at it. So far, she's been even better than we thought. So.
And Coach, we enjoyed getting to know Janae Crooms last season through some small conversations, her enthusiasm for the city of Providence. She's from there, for the university. So now in her second year, how do you think we'll see her make a jump now that she's with you guys after a full season?
A couple things with Janae. She's an incredibly talented player and does have a great passion and enthusiasm. I think last year she felt at times a lot of the weight on her, like I've got to do this. So just being able to be herself, but to let the game come to her. She's built a lot more trust with those teammates she spent a year with, which I think has helped a lot. And then, she's got to be the leader of that consistency I talked about. We got to know, hey, the ball goes up, we're getting 13 and 7 or whatever those numbers may be. And that's got to be the area of focus, but also know that, hey, your teammates got your back too. So she understands that, and again, that comfort, has seen it all now, has seen it in different ways, but has seen it with those people next to her, and I think that's a really important part of it.
On the topic of comfort, for Kylie Shepard, how has she gotten more comfortable with 1 year under her belt?
I think the first thing is just the physicality of the game. She's done a really great job, and our strength coach, who is phenomenal, has really helped her be ready to handle the rigors of a full season. So now we watch her in practice, and she's extremely physical, which I know she wanted to be last year, but sometimes it just takes a little bit to figure it out, and she's added that. She's gotten a little more consistent from three and more confident with that. And it's becoming her team. She is our point guard. We want the ball in her hands a lot. She makes good decisions, and it's becoming her team, and she's leaning into that.
Putting on a little bit of size in the weight room as well.
Yeah.
Well, Lisa is now joined actually with Kylie Shepard, and we're going to hear more from the Providence sophomore.
Kylie, with early days of preseason underway, you started early this year, but how is the team gelling so far?
Very well, actually. Like, we did a lot this summer together, building that team chemistry, like going to the beach, stuff like that. So everybody's playing well on the court together because of that.
As a girl from Ohio, how are you enjoying the East Coast beaches?
Oh, I love it. I didn't know what to expect when I came here. I was just like, oh, it's far from home. Like, we'll see what it's like. But I love the ocean. I love going to the beach. It's so fun.
Now, you told me off air right before we got going, but I want everyone to know just how intense you are. What is your favorite animal?
A shark.
Did you see any this summer?
No, I really want to see one so bad. Like, I want to swim with them, all of that, but I can't find one. I really can't. I went deep sea fishing, still didn't find one.
I think the water is a little bit too cold in the north of the country there, but you also have partnered with Influence Tees, and you have some clothing out there. I saw some T-shirts, some sweatshirts, some swag on your Instagram. Did you get to design these clothing? Tell me about the process.
It was really cool. So he DM'd me, and his name is Brandon, and he was like, hey, want to work with us? Like, we'll make you a tee. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So I filled out a form, got to put a little bit of my inspiration into it, and then he just did the rest.
Now, have you seen them around campus yet? Are you giving them out? Are you telling kids where to buy them? How do we get one?
Yeah, my family has them. A couple of my teammates do. Friends are buying them. So there's a link on my Instagram to buy it and get it if you want it.
Plug it here, Kylie. This is where you plug it. Now, last year, you dealt with a bit of injury. You missed a stretch of the season. Now that you have a bit of consistency under you, what are you looking to improve upon yourself this year?
I think just my confidence overall. Like, yeah, I had a year under my belt. It was a struggle, but now it's just like, how do I stay consistent, stay on the floor, and do what I'm best at?
There are not a lot of upperclassmen on this team, but for you as a sophomore, what type of leadership role are you looking to take on?
Actually kind of a big one this year with Mary and Alyssa leaving. We have to step up, especially our sophomores. Like, we're half the team. So specifically me, coach has been telling me, like, take leadership, take ownership of stuff, lead this team, let's win. And I'm like, let's go for it. I mean, I didn't really have a choice, but it's okay because I love it, and I have Janae right by my side.
So you saw how your teammates led last year. What type of leader are you trying to be this year? Are you going to be vocal? Are you going to lead by example? What do you think?
I think I'm going to lead by example. Vocal is, I'm working on it. It's a little bit harder for me, like coming in playing my freshman year. I didn't really want to like talk a lot because I didn't have that experience, but now I do. So I'm trying to be loud in practice and like share my knowledge to everyone, but I'm definitely going to be doing the example way more, diving on the floor for balls, taking charges, all of that.
Well, we are excited to see it, Kylie. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lisa. We are now joined with the coach, to this at Georgetown head coach. Coach, I was so excited to get you going. Jimmy Howard, coach, welcome.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
Of course. How has today been going for you and your team?
Day has been going great.
Yeah.
Always great opportunity to come up and bring the young ladies out, see New York City if they haven't been here before, and just to see, fellow colleagues and see players. And they're different when they're not wearing uniforms and you know them by the numbers and you look around and you say, wow. But it's the kickoff to a new season.
With it being a kickoff to a new season, what are some of the expectations you have for this season?
I really like this team. I think we're waiting on some things. We have a couple of pieces, transfer portal, I think experience, and I think that would help us. Southeastern Conference kid played in ACC, and now our kids growing up and being a year older or 2 or 3, I look forward to that. I think Kelsey Ransom is setting on a great year. And I'm looking forward to her junior season. And Grace Ann Bennett now has been in it for 4 years. Her experience in playing the game is really going to help us. But I'm really excited about my freshmen from last year who's sophomores now. I think we brought Brianna with us today, and Brianna Scott is going to be a young lady that probably really be able to help us going forward. And we're happy right now. Yeah, we got to stay healthy. Everything is about staying healthy. If you stay healthy and you put your pieces together, it's like this tough Big East.
Yeah.
you never know until you get to the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Coach, kind of reminiscing towards the end of last season, you guys had some really exciting and promising moments. You were competing with top teams. You had the Big East tournament win. Have you seen some of that confidence and enthusiasm carry into the off-season and preseason workouts this year?
Absolutely. I think we are very pleased as a staff at Georgetown to see where we are right now. We're seeing it. We saw it this summer. We're seeing it in practice. There's something different about this team, and being in the game for so long, you know when you see something special. This team is, I think they want it. They want to change, you know, who they've been in the past, and you're absolutely right. Down the stretch, we always tend to play better in February, but with this team, I see them starting to gel a little bit now, and having some other pieces to fill in spots where we really needed maybe a little help. I'm hoping that one of the freshman point guards that we have that was highly recruited is really should help us, and if she helps us, I like our chances.
Who is really leading the charge for you when you do say that there is this fuel with your players? Who's leading that charge?
Kelsey Ransom and Grace Ann Bennett. Those are two captains, and they've been great. Again, being in the program now for 4 years for Grace Ann, being in the program for 3 years for Kelsey. Kelsey plays with a chip on her shoulder. She plays hard all the time. She leaves it on the floor, and I think they're at that place in their careers where they want to change, and they want to see change, and they're leading the change. So that's what we look forward to.
Yeah, well, let's hear a little bit more about this chip on her shoulder that she has. Lisa has actually joined with Kelsey Ransom. Lisa?
Thanks, Meg. I am here with Kelsey Ransom. Kelsey, heading into your junior year this year, what has been a personal focus for you this offseason?
To just get better at things that I'm good at, and to humble myself in things that I know I need to improve on, and work hard to get better at those.
So working hard, doing those things that you need to get better at, what is your biggest thing that you worked on offensively this summer?
Definitely my jump shot, counter moves, trying to be a little more unpredictable, and changing my scouting report.
So we won't tell everyone your scouting report today, don't worry, but I do want to know where you got this fit. Give me your outfit of the day. I want to hear it head to toe.
Okay, so this, H&M. These pants, H&M, and they have pockets. The shoes, Nordstrom. My nails, CVS Press-On, $7.
CVS Press-Ons, you heard it here first, and fit head to toe from H&M. I love it. Having fun today here. You said you got to talk to a little bit of the players. You saw some of them at transition game. What has been your overall experience today at Media Day?
It's just engaging. Like, I'm exhausted, but in a good way. It's just a lot of engagement, a lot of talking, a lot of seeing people, a lot of laughter. It's been a great experience for my team being in New York, going together. So I think it's been really fun for me.
So as we look ahead to this season this year, and you've had training with the team so far, what player has really stood out to you about maybe coming back this year a little bit stronger than they were last year?
To name one is like, I can't even name one player. Everybody in that gym is working harder than I've ever seen them work before. The freshmen are coming in with such a great attitude. Returners are coming in with a focus to get better and to acknowledge that we need to get better. Even like just nobody there has a persona that what we did last year was good enough. Everyone wants to be better. Everyone's doing what it takes to be better. So,
what is the one thing that this team can do to be better than they were last year?
I think that would probably be holding each other accountable, holding ourselves accountable. We've worked hard on introspection and understanding that when things need to change, that may come from one person first, and that change can then, create a way for other people to then change their behavior. And freshmen can lead, and seniors can lead, and sophomores can say something that seniors can listen to, and freshmen have a place in the team that doesn't make it so that they can't say or they can't tell someone what they're doing wrong. It's a great camaraderie we've established, and it's something that I think is undeniable and unbreakable in a team.
I am so excited to watch you guys play this year just because of what you're talking about right there. Kelsey, thank you so much and good luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Well, coming up next to the set, we will hear from the commissioner of the Big East Conference. Val Ackerman joins me on set next.
Firedown is a place where people learn and play, pray, and grow, where community comes together with purpose. Providence College is about showing up, tackling problems, asking questions. define the future and honor the past. With each other and for each other. Providence College, together with purpose.
Become who you're truly meant to be. Marquette University, be the difference.
Welcome back into Big East Women's Basketball Media Day, where we now finally get to see our own Lisa Roman on the 360 camera. Lisa, you look good, girl.
I need to work on my posing a little bit, but Meg Kim, I want to get in there with you three. I think we could have a lot of fun with this. You know, Charlie's Angels, back-to-back, have a lot of fun.
I love it. The outfit looks great. And I'm now joined on my set with Commissioner Val Ackerman. Val, are we going to get you up next? I think that's what we have to do.
I'm going to have to try that. I got dizzy watching her, but I think I might, give that a test. There is an operator, right?
There is an operator,
professional
yes.
who's not going to make it go too fast.
Yeah,
though,
and worst case is you have to do a take 2 or a take 3.
Okay, yeah, we'll figure that.
Val, when we look at the Big East Conference, on the women's basketball side of things specifically, 4 teams to the NCAA tournament last year, what's your take on the current state of the league on the women's side?
Really good. I mean, and getting better all the time. We saw an exceptional performance last year by Creighton. Heartbreaking loss in the Elite 8 game. I was there for that, to the team that won the national championship. But to see their strides, to see Villanova, moving along under Denise. We have very high hopes. I think Marquette, we have schools that are going to get right back into it. St. John, Seton Hall. Coach Howard was very excited about his team this year. So obviously UConn continues to lead the way, and we would expect nothing less from such a great coach with such a storied program. But I think our fans especially have every reason to be hopeful about just very memorable competition this year.
Yeah, when you really look at it in a zoomed out perspective, UConn playing in the national title game, Creighton, Elite 8 for the first time program history, Villanova in the NCAA tournament, Seton Hall making it to the final in the WNIT, Marquette also in the WNIT, DePaul in the NCAAs. What is the trajectory for Big East women's basketball?
I think it can only continue to grow. These programs don't happen by accident. They require commitment, investment, really good coaches, things that I hope we can continue to do a good job providing them by way of television coverage, promotion around these programs, all the things that would make a young woman want to go to that school. That's on us and our schools to provide if we're serious about all of this. But I think that's that can happen, and the progress we've made over the last 10 years has been real to me. And if we can get beyond 4 and maybe get 5 or 6 in the tournament, just like we have on the men's side, I mean, that would probably be the ultimate goal. And of course, winning national championships regularly.
Yeah. Earlier this week, it came out with the Big East Conference signing on with Mohegan Sun Arena to continue to have the women's tournament there. What led to this extension in that agreement?
A great experience there. Yeah. We were in the Midwest for our women's tournament for the first several years of the new Big East. Our ADs sort of favored that because they liked that we had a bookend. The men were here in the Garden seemingly forever, and the women were out in the Midwest. But once UConn came in, we knew that their fan base in particular could bring so much to this marquee event. Yeah. So Mohegan Sun became available. It was sort of an easy decision because of what we expected it to be. And then here we are. I mean, we had, COVID got in the way the first year, but last year was fantastic with the incredible fan support there. And then we've got our last year of the current deal coming up in March, and then we now just tacked on 3 more years through the extension. So we're excited. We think it's the right place for us to be.
How exciting is it really to feel like there is a place to call home for the women's side of things? When you think of Madison Square Garden on the men's side, we think of it, this is our home for the men's, and now Mohegan Sun Arena, it's a little bit of home for the women.
I hope so. I mean, it's good to plant a flag and be in one place. We kind of looked at one point about bouncing around, and there's benefits in that too, giving every school, for example, a chance to host this. The old Big East did that. But I think the better view is to pick a site like we have here on the men's side in New York, build it over time. In our case, we're very much taking advantage of the fan support that UConn has been, responsible for generating over the last 30 plus years since Gino's been there. So you can always change it, but I think for now, you're right. I think it will be the place we call home.
In your opening remarks, Val, you had mentioned this past summer celebrating the 50th anniversary of Title IX. We look ahead to this season, and the Big East will have a record 4 games on Fox broadcast networks. What excites you about these steps forward that the conference is taking?
I'm glad you brought up Title IX because I really welcomed the reflections over the last several months about the law, what its impact was. Many of us had personal stories, about how we played and how that made us who we are. And we had a chance to, with this Title IX platform, to talk about that. So I was really grateful for that, those moments. They're continuing. We've got a bunch of Title IX events that are still going on our campuses this fall as they sort of look to get in under the wire in 2022. But I do think that the future, is on all of us to make sure it happens. We want to keep investing in our programs. It's not just basketball, it's other women's sports. In fact, of the 22 sports we sponsor, 12 are women's sports. So we've got, I think, 2,600 female student athletes across 100 teams in the Big East. So women's sports is a big part of what we do, a big part of our history, and it has to be a big part of our future.
When talking about reflecting, Val, when you have a moment to kind of reflect for you with Title IX, and you look around the current state of all of the college athletes here today, what's maybe one of your fondest memories of being a college athlete?
The wins. I mean, when you're a college athlete, you take wins and losses very hard. I mean, you can look back as an adult and say, I wish I wasn't so serious about all that, and winning wasn't the only thing, but it really feels like the only thing. And I remember some real highs with teams that we beat as I got old, later on. My early years at Virginia, the program was on the ground floor, and we didn't have so many wins. But winning was great. The camaraderie with teammates and others in the athletic department. I was at a great school, Virginia, with a beautiful campus that I have stayed connected to in other ways as an alum. Just the thoughts about how different I was then, but how that experience made me who I am today. It's all part of our development process. I think about that pretty much constantly.
And talking about development processes, the conference puts on transition game on the women's side of things. You talked about it a little bit in your opening remarks. How important is it for you as the commissioner to really ensure that our student athletes feel that the conference cares about them and what's next in their life?
Important, very important. This program, we do a counterpart program on the men's side for freshmen. On the women's side, it's for upper class female student athletes in basketball as they think about what their next life move will be. Some will play in the WNBA. Some may play in Europe. All of them will stop at some point playing, and some more quickly than others. So I was in their shoes, trying to think when I was a 4th year at Virginia, okay, what am I going to do next? Am I going to go to grad school? Should I play overseas? What do I want to do with my life? I call it, what's my second dream? And so this is a really great opportunity for us to help them, I hope a lot, maybe a little, as it turns out. But it's important for us to make sure our athletes understand that there are people there to support them, and they're not alone on their journey. And hopefully some of the things that we talk about, they will carry with them, for years to come.
Well, Val, thank you so much for joining to the set. It is crazy how fast Media Day comes up on us, and now even crazier how fast the season is going to really come. Thank you so much, Val. We look forward to seeing you the rest of the way.
Always great to talk to you, Megan. And
Thank
you, Kim.
you.
I know you're in the wings.
I was taking it all in. I loved it. I loved the Title IX, the women, 4 games on Fox. Let's keep pushing Big East women's hoops ahead.
Yeah, most certainly, most certainly. Thank you,
Thanks,
Val.
ladies, for all you're doing for us.
Of course, thank you. Now let's transition to some impact players. Obviously, at the top of that list, Kim, is the preseason player of the year, Villanova's Maddie Siegrist.
Yeah, and there's some really intriguing names on this. I believe we're going to hear from this person shortly, so I'm just going to tee her up. Lauren Park Lane, one of my favorite players to watch nationwide last season. Like the conference itself, I think Lauren Park Lane finally got the recognition she deserves on a national scale. She should still be getting more, I believe, and she'll do that this season. But one of the top assisters in the nation, she's just 5'3". The things she's able to do on the floor, I can't wait to see what she brings out for her senior season.
And get this, for the second straight year, Lauren Park Lane is actually, just earlier this week, she was named to the Nancy Lieberman Award watch list for the second straight year. So big things coming for the small but mighty Seton Hall Pirate, as we hear a little bit more from the Seton Hall Pirate in this feature. Check it out.
I can do everything that everyone else is doing. It doesn't matter who's looking at me, who's not. You know, I know that I'm a good basketball player. I put the work in every day to be as good as I am today. So I'm gonna go out every night and I'm gonna show it. You know, we have a lot of transfers and everything, so I feel like I'm taking more of like a leadership role, trying to make sure everyone feels included, make sure everyone's having a great time here. Because, you know, I love Seton Hall. Seton Hall, this is like my home away from home. So, you know, making everyone feel included, making everyone feel welcomed here, you know. And I feel like we're doing a really good job. You know, we've come together a lot as a team before the season even started. So just bringing that onto the season, keeping everyone together. I would say, you know, I've grown as a leader. Before my freshman year, you know, I was more of like a vocal type of just trying to get everybody up, keep myself like energized, you know, being very energetic all time during practice. Because, you know, people get older, they don't like to you know, they're here, but they're not really here. So, you know, keeping everyone in it. But I think I've grown as a leader, as like more of like a lead by example type leader, you know, being here extra in the gym, like hours early before everyone gets here, you know, showing everyone that you have to put in the work to get to where you want to be.
Lauren Park Lane all the way.
We have a lot of talent. This is the most overall talented team I've had in my 10 years here at Seton Hall, and that says a lot because we've had some great teams, you know, led by Lauren, who's one of the best players in the country, and Sydney as well. Those two have established a real good work ethic, a real good leadership. They're our captains this year, and they've done a really good job of getting everyone involved on and off the court. We have a good close-knit group. I'm really happy with their culture and what we've established here.
Leading by example, so, you know, our culture is really like, you gotta work hard, put in the work, and you'll get to where you wanna be, you know, you'll make the shots that you wanna make in the game. So, you know, letting everyone know, because I feel like we're doing a really good job now. This is like the first year, like everyone's in the gym, you know, working hard all the time, you know. People see, I would say like the head of the snake, me, they see me doing it, so now they want to go out and they want to like work hard. So I feel like once everyone's working hard, no one wants to be left behind. You know, you see people doing things, you want to like get on board with that. So I would say just hard work. I feel like if everyone's working hard, everyone's getting better at the same time, I feel like we can't do any wrong.
Park Lane, we're tied at 77.
This group is close, one, because they all have a common goal. They like to play basketball. Two, they realize this is LP's team. At the end of the day, this is LP's team. Like, you know, she's my boss. She's the boss. Let's go. You know, and you know, and I think they have a great respect for our leaders in our program, and I think they just like having fun, and they like being around each other, Megan. I don't have to force anything here. It's really, like I said, this is one of the more relaxing 6 months I've had in a long time, because I just coached them on the basketball team. I don't have there's no real, they just take care of themselves. They're really good and they like to play.
This is like one of the most close-knit groups I've been with since I've been at Seton Hall, you know, and it started so early, which is like, geez, like, no, the sky is the limit for everybody. So we have such talented players, and I just can't wait to see all of us playing together on the court. I feel like it's going to be like something that Seton Hall hasn't seen in a while, for real. And I'm just really excited for that, and of course, getting a lot of wins. You know, I can't sleep at night if I don't win. So I will make sure that we do what we have to do to win.
We are so excited to welcome onto the set head coach for Seton Hall, Tony Bozzella. And coach, we just heard from your senior, Lauren Park-Lane, a little bit there in the feature. We heard from you on that feature a little bit as well. But when you really look at Lauren's journey at Seton Hall, coming back a little bit full circle this senior year, how would you put her journey into words?
It's really incredible. Megan, great to see you. Kim, always great to see you as well. Incredible. Here's a young lady that wasn't really highly recruited. My associate head coach identified her, Coach DeFalco identified her early in the process, and we went after her. And I'll never forget, she committed, I think, at 7:30 in the morning. I still think she was half asleep. And I'm like, geez, this kid's really not excited. And then, you know, she started every game since then. It's amazing. I mean, here's a young lady that's, you know, the heart and soul of our program now. And more importantly, just a wonderful human being. You know, raised by tremendous parents, and just a fun kid, ultra competitive, and a heck of a basketball player, thankfully, as well.
And Coach, you know what I noticed? I was looking at your roster last night. It looks like you've got her height is correct now. It's listed as 5'3", because I know last year I was like, some places it's 5'6", some places it's 5'4". She told me it was 5'3", and now I see that's official.
It is. She didn't shrink. We just went with the real number right now. And you know, her heart is the heart of a 8-footer. So that's really the most important thing.
Absolutely. And Coach, looking back a little bit to now look forward, you were playing like an NCAA tournament team for the last couple of weeks or months of the season. You have a tremendous run to the WNIT championship. How will that experience make your returning players and your program overall better this season?
I think it's to us to be resilient. I mean, we started off very, you know, up and down, not consistent, very inconsistent. And then we went on that great run where I think we won 16 of 18. In the WNIT, we won 4 games on the last shot of the game, basically. You know, some of that's luck, a lot of that's resiliency, a lot of that's maturity, and we grew up a lot. We grew up a lot in the second half of the Big East season with great wins over DePaul and Villanova, Creighton, you know, and we just got better and better and better. You know, to beat 3 teams that had 25-plus wins in the WNIT says a lot, including 2 tremendous road wins at Columbia and at Middle Tennessee. Those are hard environments. I mean, some of the toughest environments I've ever coached in. So I think it's really going to spur us on to a lot of success this year.
In talking about that growth as a team last season, but when you look a little bit more so player-specific during that stretch, who really grew the most during that time?
I think they all did. I think Lauren grew a lot. I did. I think Sydney grew a lot. I mean, looking at Sydney's second half of the year compared to her first half of the year, you saw the player that we all envisioned she could be. And through hard work and perseverance, she was able to achieve that. We had a kid like Maya Benry, grew up a lot. I'm a local kid from West Orange High School, transfer, grew up a lot. Obviously, we all remember the winning shot she hit against Creighton in the Big East quarterfinals. I remember all the screens, all the extra passes, all the backdoor cuts, all the guarding the other team's best forward. I remember all those things. And I remember her wanting to do those things. And she's come back with a lot of energy and a lot of confidence this year. And I'm excited to see how she grows as well.
And Coach, you mentioned that shot, which I was going to bring up, to beat Creighton at the Big East tournament. You mentioned the fashion in which you won so many of those WNIT games. I'm curious to know, because I think you're one of the best I have seen at drawing up those situational plays to get a bucket when you need it. How has that come about for you? How much do you study? How have you built your playbook?
Well, we do a lot of studying, but I give a lot of credit to my assistant coach, Coach Rabimbas. Jose is constantly watching film and watching stuff. Him and Coach Stanella, another former head coach. I have 2 former head coaches there. They do a lot of end-of-game preparation. We scout as much as we can on knowing what the other team's going to run. We do as much as we can on putting ourselves in different scenarios. Foul trouble, down 1, down 2, down 3. And they've done a great job. I would tell them I challenge them, and they do a great job at executing it. And we would not have the success without Pete, Sanella, and Jose, and Lauren DeFalco, and Shakina Richardson, my former point guard, who we all love and know, and even Christy, our other director of operations. They put us all in great situations. And Kim, that's a great question, because it's not just about one person; it's about the whole group. And like I said, Jose is done answering your question. Jose's done a great job getting us ready for the end of the game.
Well, with all that studying, hopefully during the off-season, Coach, you were able to kind of enjoy yourself a little bit. Daughter's getting married very soon, so lots of wedding planning as well. Coach, thank you so much for joining us.
Great seeing you both. Great seeing everyone here at the Big East. The Big East is the premier conference. I truly believe that, and I love being part of it, and I love our leadership by Val and Pam and everyone.
Thank you, Coach. We appreciate
you.
Let's turn to our other Metropolitan team in St. John's as we take a peek at their schedule. But St. John's, we will talk to him in just a second, head coach Joe Tartamella, who's now the all-time winningest coach in program history, but a lot to be excited around this St. John's squad, right?
Yeah, and we're going to talk to Coach Tartamella about this, but they have a ton of new faces.
Yeah.
So they do, it's a great mix. They have a lot of core players coming back and a ton of new players. I'm interested to talk to Joe about what we might see from a few of them.
Yeah, and let's bring in Joe. Hey, Coach, how's it going?
It's going great. I don't know what am I sitting on?
That chair's a little low.
Word
so
on the
yes,
street.
yeah. Word
we
on the
wanted
street.
you to have a good posture, look nice and tall up here.
Yeah, keep you level. Coach, Kim was just talking a little bit about some of the newcomers that you have coming into your team this season, but also you returned 5 of your 6 top scorers from a season ago. What are some of the expectations you have?
Yeah, I mean, our expectation is to be better. That's the first thing. But yeah, we've got 7 new players, 6 that return. Really pleased with I think the fit that we've, when we went out and looked at transfers or we were looking at freshmen, I think we really found players that fit what we want to do. So it's a lot more what I'm used to seeing and being able to do as a coach with the team that we have on the floor, with the athleticism, the speed, our recommitment to defending, and that's a big area of concern that we had after the last 2 years. And as someone who prides himself on being able to start on the defensive end, I'm excited to see what we've brought in. So having Kadeja Bailey, Unique, and Ray, and Patterson and Cosgrove back as guys who were part of our core from last year are going to be extremely important. But the newcomers will play a large role too. So really been pleased with our progress since July. The leadership, we have a lot of veteran players. I got guys who are in their 5th, 6th years. And I was just saying to somebody else, just the voices that we now have in that locker room, their ability to lead, Mimi Reed and Jayla Everett and even Jacayla Brown, new faces that have come in, along with the Baileys and Drakes and Peoples, have really been fun to watch. And I think that's what's been exciting about practice. I think we're in our 15th one, and we've been extremely competitive in every single one. And I see a lot of parallels to the teams that I've had in the past that have been successful at the defensive end.
Awesome. And you just mentioned a couple there, but I was going to ask you, are there a few that you can see right away, whether they're in the starting lineup, whether they're coming off the bench quickly, just a few that have really stood out to you so far in the preseason?
Yeah, I mean, well, you're always focused on new players, right, because you're kind of interested to see what they're going to bring. But I think our depth is when we have legitimate depth, where I think people can say they're deep, but can you really go there? I think we have legitimate depth in a lot of areas. Obviously, Jayla Everett's a prolific scorer. Came out of Pitt by way of New Mexico also, but she's dynamic offensively. Mimi Reed comes from being a starting point guard in the SEC. Obviously, Jillian Archer, many people know from Georgetown. So you're seeing a lot of different things from the newer players, but also just the maturation of Kadeja and Unique and Raven being back. And Danielle Cosgrove has really been consistent shooting the ball, which I've been pleased with. And then Danielle Patterson, brings her consistency every single day. So, I think the whole has been really good. And I said 15 practices. I feel like we've had 2 that were really not on par, which is probably bizarre to say, right? In most preseasons. But you still got to play games. We got to go play. We got to prove it, and we have a lot to be able to prove this year.
Coach, you mentioned earlier the defensive side of things. How did you bring it back to basics on defense to really lock in there?
Pretty simply of guarding the ball. You got to be able to guard the ball better and keep people out of the paint. Being able to contest, all over the floor, and then obviously finishing everything with a rebound. We've struggled there in the last couple of years, and I think we've we were able to identify those that were going to help us in those areas to bring them into our team. But everything starts at the point of attack and being able to stay in front of people and just having a love for playing defense. And that's what I love about the guys that we've brought in, and I think that's kind of spread throughout our team is like their love for playing D. I mean, and we're doing drills or we're coming out on the floor, they get excited about it. And so that excites me as a coach and gives me the energy that, as I said, I've always felt with our teams, except we just haven't been able to execute really in the last 2 years in that area.
Raven Peoples have a love for defense?
Raven Peoples has started to have a love for defense because her teammates are demanding it of her. And I think if you look at her even today, I mean, the shape that she's in, the dedication she put in over the summer, and Ray knows, hey, rebound, be able to score the ball, and you got to be able to guard. And Raven's understanding of rotations and being in the right place, I think, has really improved in her time with us. So, yeah, she's absolutely been better in that area.
Awesome. Well, you heard it here first. Now Lisa is actually joined with Raven Peoples. Lisa?
I'm here with Raven Peoples entering her 5th year. Raven, we just heard Coach. We could overhear him at the desk saying that you've really started to play some defense. Are your teammates demanding that of you this year?
Yeah, I feel like defense is a really big part of my game, like especially rebounding and being like a all-time help defender, and just being able to be in the right position all the time. It really matters, especially like as a post player, because like you see everything on the defensive end. But yeah.
So as a post player, you are all over the paint when we watch St. John's play. I want to know how you replicate that physicality and that chaos in training.
I would say I just go hard every time I work out. Like every time I do extra workout, just working on things that I know I need to improve, but just working hard all the time and being positive and having the right mindset.
Raven, when I asked you about your summer, you said, hey, I didn't really do much. I played basketball, and it paid off because Coach said that you looked lights out and you look the fittest that you have been ever with him in this season. What did your training look like? Take me through a day in the basketball training of Raven Peoples.
I would just say like every day getting up extra shots and always doing extra workouts. Like at least like I made a plan with our post coach to like do at least 3 extra workouts a week, and always like doing extra lifting with my our strength and conditioning coach, Coach Al. But just making sure I'm staying on top of my game and trying to be consistent with things.
You are staying on top of your game as one of the veteran leaderships on this team. There are 9 upperclasswomen, you being one of them. How much are you seeing the veteran presence so far?
I think it's like a big difference because I think last year and like the previous years we really needed like leadership, and I think this year like with all these older people, especially like new transfers coming in, we really need like leadership and positive mindsets. So that's really going to help us this year.
So today with Media Day, we got the 360 cam. We got a lot of media here, a lot of pictures being taken, and you look fantastic. You also let me in that you do your own hair?
Yes. Yeah, I started doing my hair like when I got to college just because like I liked my hair to be perfect or the way I want it. So it takes me about like 6 or 7 hours to do it. But yeah, I don't like really other people doing my hair because I want it to be a certain way. So yeah.
Well, Raven, it looks fantastic. 6 or 7 hours. Add that to your workout for the week. Tell your strength and conditioning coach that. Thank you so much, Raven.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Lisa. Well, the Villanova Wildcats are coming off of their first NCAA tournament appearance since 2018. As we're joined into the set, head coach Denise Dillon. And before we get to talk to you a little bit, let's take a look at the sneaks. Let's see the heat on the feet. Sneaker cam right up there with the V.
Yeah.
I love it, Coach.
I think all the players had those on as well.
We're styling.
We're styling.
We're doing it
Love
right.
the branding.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, first NCAA tournament appearance since 2018. Maddie Siegrist, the preseason player of the year, coming in this season. I mean, when you look at what you have as expectations really going into this year, what are some of the expectations you've set on your team?
Well, I think watching what we've done the last couple of years since I got back to Villanova, the expectations just continue to rise. And I think it's what the vision and goals that we've put in place, and it's not just as a staff, but the players as well. And I think last year was a turning point for this group, and just feeling like, okay, we can play against anyone, and just finishing the job with some didn't come into play. You know, we first round was great in the NCAA tournament, but then losing a tough one against Michigan, I think just fueled the motivation for this group. So it just leads to that wanting more and the expectation to be more prepared and better the following year with who we have returning and Maddie leading the way.
Yeah, Coach, kind of continuing along those lines, how do you recognize and celebrate all that you guys did last season, but still challenge them to say, hey, we want to be 1 or 2 in the conference every year. We want to be getting to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, and it is a conversation. It's said, but as we all know, I mean, being involved in the game, it's the work that goes into it, and the effort and consistency that the individual players commit to the game. So, yeah, last year was celebrated as it should be. You know, you have your banquets and great appreciation for the Big East, continuing to promote and recognize all of our teams and what they accomplished. But then it's summer starts and it's a whole new group. The freshmen come in and you know, okay, now we got to see what this group is about and what their identity is. So starting all over, hitting that reset button and being ready to go with a new group and just wanting a little bit more and willing to do a lot more each and every day.
One player who seems like she's always willing to do a lot more is Maddie Siegrist. When you've looked at her progression from freshman season, now coming into her senior year, how does she continue to better herself? Where does that motivation come from for her?
Yeah, well, it's a great thing, and just doing a lot of reading or listening to different things, talking about habits. I'd say Maddie Siegrist is one who is so consistent in her habits of work and to the game, just every day. It is not something that's forced. It's not just the time frame that we put on the schedule. She's in there and she's committed to her craft, and her teammates see that. And you see follow suit. We say, Lucy Olson's a mini Maddie. She has that same work ethic and will and determination to be the best she can be so that her teams are the best they can be. But Maddie, watching her just develop as a player has been great, but watching her grow as an individual and a leader of this team and within the community at Villanova has been extra special.
And Coach, when you think of last season's success, the expectations you have for this season, it's almost surprising when you look at your roster, and it's a very young group. I believe it's 9 freshmen or sophomores, and I know you have a transfer in the mix as well. Who's maybe 1 or 2 of those younger players that you're hoping will really make a jump for you this season?
Yes, that's a great question, because it's what you're going to see early and often is our younger players in that sophomore class. I mean, Lucy Olson played a lot of minutes last year. She started every game for us, so she has gotten that experience early and quickly in her time at Villanova, but it's some of the others. Caitlin Oriole was a nice role player for us last year, but you're going to see Christina Dalsey out there early, and Zanai Jones. So we're excited for what they have done in their leap from freshman to sophomore class. And you always say, you can't speed up that experience factor, but at the same time, just with them having that opportunity, that chance out on the floor, with great leadership from Maddie and Brooke, has certainly given them confidence and awareness of what needs to be done in order to be successful.
And that great leadership certainly can't be underplayed or underrated.
Never.
No, not at all. And we are so excited to finally hear from the preseason player of the year, Maddie Siegrist herself. We've been talking about it all show long, and now Lisa is joined with Maddie.
Maddie, you're coming off of a fantastic year, Big East Player of the Year. You broke the single season scoring record. You're unanimously voted preseason Big East Player of the Year. What is left on your bucket list to check off?
Just continue to raise the bar for myself, for my teammates. Going back to NCAA tournaments, of course, a goal. But just take it one game at a time. Try to be the best I can be for my team.
There are a number of younger players on this Villanova roster. What have you noticed from them in these early days of training so far that they're adding to this team?
They just want it. Like, everyone wants to get better, which is exciting. There's so many kids who every time I go up in the gym and shoot, there's always somebody in there, which is great. I have to wait to use the shooting gun, but I mean, it's great. I think Lucy Olsen, I mean, she's gotten a lot better. I'm really excited for her this season. Brooke, Bella, even our older kids have gotten a lot better. And then we bring in, you know, I'm excited Megan Obrey is a freshman. I think, you know, she's going to contribute a lot this season.
When you look at these younger players and how they can complement this squad, are we expecting like big changes this year? Give us a sneak peek at what we can expect from Villanova.
I don't think like big changes. I mean, I think, you know, we do a little bit of everything, but I'm excited defensively. I think we're going to bring an intensity that'll excite a lot of people. I mean, hopefully Coach Dillon will be happy with it.
I'm sure they will. Congratulations are in order because you spent your summer with Team USA 3-on-3. Tell me what is the biggest thing you learned from that experience?
Well, the 3-on-3 was just so cool to be a part of, but the 12-second shot clock, now when there's 8 seconds, I think I'm going to be like, wow, that's so much time. Where like before 12 seconds on 5-on-5, you're like, wow, it's a short clock. And meanwhile, the 12 seconds is the whole time you have in 3-on-3. So that.
Traveling with Team USA, they took you to the Dominican Republic, Romania. What is the craziest food you tried in either of those places this summer?
Oof. So Dominican Republic, everyone was like, you can't drink the water, you can't. So I really just ate bread with olive oil and Parmesan cheese on it for a week. But Romania, they had like a lot of like mystery meats. I waited till other kids tried it first, for sure. But a couple dishes like that.
Okay, so athletes are made off of bread and cheese and then some crazy meats. I like it. I like it. Now, I know that you train a lot personally with former Villanova head coach Harry Perretta. How was he in the gym this summer? What have you guys been working on?
I mean, you know, he wants to work on a little bit of everything. But a lot of like off the dribble shooting, stuff like that. Definitely your threes. I was telling you earlier, he told me the other day that every time I hit the rim, it doesn't count as a make. You can't touch anything. I'm like, Harry, are you crazy? Like that doesn't even make sense. But you know, he's just continues to raise the bar, just like Coach Dillon. I'm so lucky to have all these people who want to challenge me and, you know, make me the best player I could be.
Well, Maddie, I'll be sure to translate that to Big East this year. All the referees, if it hits the rim, it doesn't count.
Don't tell them that. Don't tell them that.
Thanks so much, Maddie. Good luck.
Well, hopefully Maddie knows that here in New York City, you can get a lot more than just some bread, and you can get
I had the same thought. I mean, come on, she's an All-American. We got to get her on a little better diet than that.
Yeah, fuel it on up. But let's take another look at the preseason coaches poll. As we got to welcome in Lisa to the desk with us. But UConn Huskies, unanimous preseason favorite. But then when you get into the middle of the league, there's a little bit of parity there a little bit.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how this season shakes out. You see how closely Creighton and Villanova were ranked at the 2 and 3 spots, and then even talking to Gino, I mean, he brings up a great point that they are losing a lot of experience, and a team like Creighton is very experienced. Can they, you know, get in the mix there to knock off the Huskies like we saw Villanova do last year? And Meg and Lisa, a conversation I took from was Joe Tartamella, St. John's. I'm really intrigued by how their new pieces can impact the team. He seems really excited. We know they've always had speed, size, athleticism, but they're just, I don't know, talking to him seems like there's a lot of potential there. And after that conversation, looking at some of their new players, I'm looking at the Johnnies as a team that could potentially surprise some people.
How about you, Lisa? Are there any maybe sleepers or any team that is really standing out to you coming into this season?
I think Johnnies. I'm going to echo what Kim just said, frankly, because there's so many new players entering Big East teams and rosters this year, and everyone that we've talked to, coaches, players, they're so high on these young players. And when you look at St. John's, they have welcomed in so many new players, whether they're veteran transfers or first-year players into their team, that I really think can kickstart them and combine so well with the leadership and the players that have already been on this team for a number of years.
Now,
I don't want to sleep on Seton Hall either.
Yeah.
They were picked tied for fourth. I mean, I don't want to sleep on anyone.
Yeah.
No disrespect to anyone, but with Lauren Park Lane, one of the elite point guards in the nation, Sydney Cooks, as dominant as she was in the second half of the season, Tony Bozzella, too, is somebody who always brings in a ton of transfers. So that's kind of an X factor for everybody, I think, is you never know how those transfers are going to fare. But I wouldn't sleep on little Lauren and Sydney inside either.
All 5'3" of her. But it is a really interesting storyline for this year specifically. I mean, there are so many transfers on every team. I think you look at down the roster of every every team in the Big East this season, and there's some sort of transfers and who are hoping to be impact transfers.
Yeah, I think that speaks so much to the Big East as a conference overall. I mean, we talked about the success of this conference last year, sending so many teams to the tournament, and how they're looking to expand on that this year. And players that weren't competing in the Big East last year, they saw that and they wanted in on what's happening here at the Big East, and now they get a little taste of that. This year is going to be fantastic.
And if we got one thing today, we got a taste of what is to upcome this season in Big East women's hoops. We cannot wait. The season tips off less than really a month from today. From Lisa Roman, Kim Adams, and myself, Megan Caffrey, thank you so much for joining us, and we cannot wait for the season to get underway.